Okay, here we are live. We are here for another episode of Chiropractic is Sexy. I'm Dr. Paula Ruffin.
And I'm Dr. Erica Peabody, and here we are Thursday, always 1 o'clock. So be sure to join us regularly. We will eventually get this actually out published in the podcast platforms. But quite frankly, we have been wildly busy in our lives. So fortunate we are just stacking up episodes, which is awesome.
And you know what I heard last week? I don't know if I shared this with you. YouTube is the #1 podcast platform.
Interesting.
So we're okay here, at least
We
for
are
the
okay
moment.
here.
Yeah,
Yes.
at least for the moment. So
I would just like people to be able to grab us on those other
for
platforms.
sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's where I do all my listening, and I do a lot of podcasting.
We need to get trending, right?
Yes.
Get trending. I did see that a friend of ours was trending in the podcast world.
I saw that too. There was actually something really, really, really beneficial. I think he posted this morning, and I was like, wow, that is super legit. You know what? Let me just actually look back because I was going to screenshot it and send it to you because I was like, wow, this is a really, really awesome. Let me just look really quick. This is it. It's so good and something so relevant here. He says, and this was actually last night at some point, if a man has his health, he has a million dreams. If he doesn't, he has one.
Love that.
I do too. And I was like, oh my gosh, I just started like reeling in my mind about all the different ways that we take for granted our day to day until we can no longer take it for granted. And then we have to focus 100% on that, which is truly our focus here, is to making sure that we're hitting people weekly, a little slap across the face. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing with your life? What are you doing with your health? Us too, like totally me too. I am finally, after months and months of feeling like my immune system has been compromised, I am pulling out of the mud. And I say compromised just because I have not been able to fight things very well. I have not been able to, even though I'm doing all the things I know I should be doing, I really, really am. And I'm not 100% perfect. It's definitely a great time of year. It's definitely through the holiday season this year. And also, I am just realizing as time goes by, I really want my body to be more and more and more resilient, not less and less. And that is possible. And so I just really loved that, where it was like, if a man is has his health, he has a million dreams. When a man does not have his health, he has one.
Yeah. How many dreams do you have out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful because it's what I'm always hammering is, what is your legacy? And legacy does transcend wealth and material objects, and that you have got to live a life and a lifestyle that allows you to have all the dreams, and then teach your children those same lessons.
Yeah.
Your kids have to be able to, that is the legacy you leave them, is to be able to live healthy habits, to live with the idea of longevity in mind and vibrancy and vitality.
Yeah.
But so many people, and I was sharing with you yesterday about a patient of mine who he's a caretaker, and he's completely let himself go, and he knows it, and he feels terrible, and he's not in a good place. And so when you start to think about what is it that you're compromising, and when you're a caretaker, if you are not putting your own oxygen mask on first, you are no good to anybody.
Right.
You have to be good to yourself first, and then you can help everybody else. So we have those million dreams. And if you hear that message and you're thinking, geez, I only have one, then do something about it. Like now, like this is where, don't just sit in it and say you don't know what to do, because this is why we are here every day, every week, to lead you, to give you insight, to help inspire you, to hope that you get up and take that extra walk, to hope that you get up and drink the extra water, sleep a little better.
Hibiscus tea. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
But it's so critical that if you're looking in the mirror and you are thinking, this isn't great, I've got to do something about it, do not get up and look at yourself in the mirror tomorrow with the same message.
Yeah.
Just change it. Like, quit making excuses and saying you're going to do it. Just do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you don't have to do a whole lot of things. Like, you don't have to change a whole lot of stuff at one time. It's about just doing 10% different every day or 10% different every week. I had a patient come in. I think it was two stories from last Thursday afternoon. One of them was, I had this patient leave, and she's been under care since November, December last year. I'm not sure what. So roughly 3 to 4 months. And she was leaving. She was walking out, and she says, "Doc, I tell every single person I see, get adjusted and start walking, and you will change your life." She said, "I'm coming every 2 weeks or twice a week until you tell me differently." And I was like, amen to that. And to have people out there spreading that kind of word, get adjusted and start walking. You literally will change your life, and not even kidding. Yep.
And you said 10%, but I want everybody to understand that
1% is probably what I meant, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because I was going to say,
that's really big.
Water is hot at 211 degrees.
Mm.
At 212, it is steam. That is the change that 1 degree, 1%, one step, one little thing can make in your life every single day.
Yeah.
You go from water to steam in 1 degree. Yep. So it doesn't have to be big leaps and bounds. It just has to be
on that one.
I know, it's so good. Oh my God, it's so good. Yeah. So you just have to start moving forward. And I said this before when I did my TED Talk. I loved my closing line, because I said, it's not going to be pretty. Do it anyway. Start today and then start again tomorrow. We are all starting over all the time, but we make forward progress. That's the most important thing. And if you're making backwards progress, if you're looking, going, oh my God, it's not looking good, that message in your brain should be, then I need to start seeking out help and guidance and community and other ways that I can change what I'm going through right now.
There is a great filter to use every day for all of our choices, which is basically, is this going to move me into health or death? Is this life or death? And that's a very dramatic, right? So hibiscus tea and hot water, is this moving me in the direction of health, or is this moving me in the direction of death? If this were a Snickers bar, health or death? Is it, if this was sitting sedentary and watching TV only, is this health or death? And once you start to say, is this moving me towards health or towards death, you'll figure it out. And that's that little one degree, 1%. And you multiply that by multiple days. Our friend here says, I climbed so many flights of stairs last week after the help of the deep squats. Prioritizing health and mobility is so vital. And it is something as simple as, you got 3 flights of steps to go up, choose the steps. You got multiple flights to go down. If you have a few extra minutes, who cares if you get winded when you're climbing those stairs too? Like, I'm just thinking about the hotel. Now, if you're carrying luggage, it might be a little bit different story. But if you're parking in a parking deck and you have the ability to take stairs up 5 flights or take the elevator, just do it. Stop halfway, have a deep breather. Who cares? You got to take a break on the steps. Who cares? It's going to be so much better for you in the long run to look for those little things that you can start to add just a little tiny bit of change. Park further away in the parking lot. I was parked with my brother. I had to attend a funeral yesterday. This is a really kind of a fascinating story, but he parked way out in the parking lot. I'm like, God, this little jerk, like, why am I? And I'm like, I'm so grateful. It was 70 degrees here, sunny and all that. But anyway, we attended this funeral last night. Actually just a viewing of the funerals today. It was during my work hours, so I couldn't go, but an old family friend. And he was working on, we grew up at a little private ski area just down the street from me on a dirt road here in Fenton called Kandahar. If any of you have ever heard of it, raise your hand. And all across, actually, it's really interesting how many people have heard of that little place. But anyway, this guy that passed away on Saturday night, they just sold their house in Georgia. They're moving up to their place on the Asable River. He flies a Cessna plane, and he went down to Georgia to fly his Cessna plane home on last Friday. He died of a massive heart attack Saturday night. Stopped the conversation with his wife, and his wife said, "Hey, honey, like, what's going on?" He's face down in the bedroom, dead.
Wow. Oh my God.
It's pretty tragic. That can happen to any one of us.
Yeah.
Now he's got the FAA has to clear you medically in order to keep your license going, right? You have to be cleared medically.
Imagine if he was in the air. Holy
For
shit.
sure. One day before, one day.
Holy moly.
That's how quick it
crazy.
happened. So that's another reason, just to be able to know that you're squeezing the juice out of your days every day, every single day. And so his kids are my age. And then a daughter that's a couple years older and one that's a year older than that. And I got to see all of them yesterday, which was really nice. You know, that is one thing that funerals do, is bring people together. But it was like alarming that he would have flown the day before, flew a Cessna from Georgia to Michigan, and then that's it. Life's over.
Wow. Yep. The clock expired.
Yep.
It's crazy.
The card's going to be pulled. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah. Yeah. And we can only hope it's that quick.
Yes.
And
that is such a blessing. It's not a long and degenerative process. Unfortunately, there's a lot of sadness, a lot of grief. Yes.
Yeah. And that also is why we like to get on here. And what's that?
Knock on wood.
Knock on wood. I know, I got lots around me. Yes. Yeah. And was it you who makes fun of me, or my girlfriend? I think it might be Heidi, who makes fun of you. And I go, yeah, my mom just dropped dead. You know?
Yes. Yeah. She just dropped dead. I'm like, well, she passed away. No, she dropped dead.
She just dropped dead.
She just dropped dead. I was like, okay.
Yeah. Right. You know, it definitely has more impact, right? Because you're like, well, when you say somebody passed away, it doesn't mean that when I say she dropped dead, you're like, oh, she was just alive one minute and dead the next. And it's like, nobody wants to like live in, Disasterville for weeks or months or years on end, right? I mean, she just dropped dead. You guys are wondering.
So I had that. So, well, eventually we'll get to principle number 10. I know you guys are all like, what is it? So the two patients. So the one that said, be sure to just start getting adjusted, start walking. And she actually came to me yesterday and she said, you know what, when people ask me if I can do something right after school, I can do something a half hour after school. I'm walking for a half hour. I'm like, that's as simple as it is. You put it right into your calendar. There's a bunch of no's that need to be said around it, and it's totally fine. And she said, I will not give up my walking. I'm like, as you should. So amen to that. The other patient that came in, it was near the end of the day, around 5 o'clock. She brought me an x-ray report. I don't practice with regular x-rays. Just my technique doesn't require regular x-rays. I send out if there's something that needs to be looked at, blah, blah, blah. So this patient went to her MD in so much pain. I haven't seen her in, I don't know, 2 months or so. She's been in a lot of pain. I'm like, get your butt here. Stop telling me that story. So that's number one. But secondly,
she's telling herself the story. Let's keep that in mind. We tell ourselves the story, right?
Yeah. So she brings this x-ray report, and it's like all this degenerative arthritis going on. She's like mid-30s, right? And her daughter is often with her, who's 5. So here's the thing. She's like, Doc, what am I supposed to do about this? I'm like, well, get your booty in here. I don't have a fix for all of that. But what I can help is with the stress on the body, the stress on the nervous system, the stress on the spine, and all of that. And I can help your body get out of all that incredible stress hormone. That's really, the adjustment is so responsible for that. But I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. You have to clean up your diet. You can't go on living for another 40 years with this much stress and degeneration. Now, this particular patient is quite a bit overweight. So, probably, I would say at least 60 to 70 pounds overweight, mid 30s. Like I said, you got 40 more years
Goodness.
ish. And it's like, so I was talking to one of my colleagues and I'm like, how do you address this? Because what I don't want is I don't want to fix all of that for them. I want people that are going to take accountability for their life. Eat well, move well, think well, drink your water, get your rest, get adjusted, right? Ad nauseum, I will say that. But it's like, do you want to know the truth? Or do you want and so he just says to me, I'm like, how do you address this with your patients? And he's been in chiropractic for a long, long time and a few more years than I have, and addresses a lot of people globally. So anyway, I said, how do you address this? And he says, I just ask him, do you want me to tell you the truth? Because the truth is, you got to get your body together. You got to get your health principles together, and you got to be consistent with them. And it has to be every single day of your life. Guess for how long? The rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
There's no easy way around it. There's no shortcut.
Mm-hmm.
There's no shortcut.
Mm-mm. Well, and people ask me, and I think I talked about this on either the Sunday show or the Monday show, but when people talk about hacks, right? So different hacks for health. And that makes people think that there's a shortcut, right? Mm-hmm. So I have a bit of a problem with that word, but I'll use it occasionally with the premise of, this is kind of a hack that you can use. However, it's not a shortcut. There's no quick, simple way around any of it. And this is what put me as a chiropractor onto the functional nutrition path, because I started to realize that I was missing this whole piece, and that I'm living a life and a lifestyle that I felt incongruent to not teach and guide and lead other people to that place, because I know how great living this way has felt for me.
Right.
That's how I want my patients to feel. So if you come in, I can't out adjust a poor diet. Right. You can't out exercise a poor diet. Right. There's none of that. So, and then of course, chiropractors get teased along the way, right? You chiropractors think you can cure anything. And, if you are going to a chiropractor who says, I'm going to cure your cancer, mm-hmm. or I'm going to cure your obesity, it doesn't work that way. You have to take responsibility for your health. We are here to guide and direct your nervous system into a place that it is in alignment with giving you the most power possible for your life, for you to be able to live a beautiful, vibrant, healthy life. Mm-hmm. So taking that level of responsibility, chiropractic is an inside out approach. So we're sitting here and we're talking about the 33 principles and innate in your nervous system, and healing comes from within, and everything takes time. And we keep talking about that. However, if you are not taking the steps that Dr. Eric and I always talk about to implement to in all the other pillars, then you're actually utilizing chiropractic as an outside in approach, meaning it's no better than an aspirin. It's no better than some icy hot on your skin. It's no better than all of these outside in approaches, because if you can start to put all those other pillars into place, you will experience the inside out power of chiropractic. Mm-hmm. And that is where the magic is. Mm-hmm. That's my soapbox.
Pace. I know. It's a change of for sure. But it gets started, the momentum grows, the better you feel. Yeah. So it's actually truly goes back to the law of inertia. And the law of inertia says a body in motion or an object in motion, but I just turn it to a body in motion tends to stay in motion, and a body at rest tends to stay at rest. And so, motivation out there isn't going to be the key that drives us. It has to be discipline. So once you get your body moving, it does get way easier. It gets easier in your joints. It gets easier in your cells. It gets easier in your energy level and your blood flow and all of that. So The other thing that will often, some of my patients are dealing with some pretty deep grief, and grief can be another kind of a stuck energy as well. And we can get that moving through, basically our issues get stuck in our tissues. So once, we all know, like even with grief and with all that kind of stuff, once you get the body moving, the energy can start to move, and the adjustment really helps with that as well. So Trina, yeah.
And I want to go back to something you said too about when you're climbing the stairs and you're like, so you get winded and you have to stop and rest.
Yeah.
And this is just think about how simple that is, because how many people out there will be like, I can't climb the stairs because I get winded. Get winded, go do it.
Right.
How are you supposed to get past not getting winded if you don't challenge your body to get winded?
Right.
Go climb the stairs.
Right.
Stop at each level. Know that you're doing something really great for your body, which goes back to what Dr. Erica was saying in the beginning. If you take an elevator or if you take the stairs, which one is going to improve my health? Which one is not going to improve my health?
Yep.
Yeah. Take the stairs. Get winded. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. And I may have told this story a long time ago, but I have a chiropractor friend of mine last year, sometime I saw her, and she was asking me about my workout routine. And she said that she's exactly my age, and she's having all of these issues with menopause and changes in her body. And I said, you have got to exercise. She said to me, I just don't want to get sore. And I go, girl, I am sore every day of my life, but I feel strong in my soreness. Like, it's okay to feel a little sore. And if you're doing it right, you're going to have a little soreness and tension. So don't not do it because you're going to be sore. Or didn't we talk, was it you that said, people handing out Advil on the golf course?
Yes.
Or something?
No. It was on before a bachelorette party.
Oh, yeah. So I have a patient who was like, I take Advil before I golf just in case I get sore. It's okay. It's okay. What? I don't understand. We're not meant to be amoebas and just like lump our way through the world. Like, I don't understand.
So true.
Did I say this? Yes. So true. Get the momentum going. You have to start. So whether I'm at the gym lifting or if I'm at yoga, the very first thing I do is deep squats and warm up my knees. You guys, I have 57-year-old athletic knees. Do you think they feel great? They do not. But if I shy away from a deep squat, guess what I'm not going to be able to do?
Deep squats.
And you know what I've been doing? Oh my gosh. Yeah. So here's what I've been doing with, and I'm going to call it knee pain because it's uncomfortable. I may or may not. I'm sure there's some degeneration. My knees grind and, I know I'm not harming myself. So I'm not suggesting you all go harm yourself. However, I started actually doing deep squats with like 10 pounds of like super lightweight. It's so hard. And do you know how much deeper I can squat now and hold it just in a few weeks of doing that? Shocker. Like,
yeah,
you've got to challenge yourself in ways that you never thought was possible.
Yep.
This one, changes I've noticed. Oh, so Shawnee was saying she started a 10-minute yoga routine before bed and when she wakes up in the morning. This is bravo to Shawnee. She's able to move without kinks and pinches in the morning. After that set, right? You get up and you feel the kinks and pinches. So you've got to do something to flush those out, right? Fall asleep faster, which means you're sleeping better, which is amazing. And it helps to decrease the stress. So bravo on you, Shawnee. Way to go. That's we're super proud of you and keep us posted on your progress.
Yeah, that's awesome. Forward to my adjustment, mid-April, I was rescheduled. What does that mean?
That should be like mid next week. What? Yeah. We're big proponents that you should be getting adjusted weekly. And I will full disclosure, I still haven't found a chiropractor in my area along my path that I can get adjusted weekly. I see Dr. Erica once a month because she's up where my hairdresser is. I can tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt, I am not functioning at my fullest because I've not been able to get my weekly adjustments. Sadly, my friend passed away. And so it's been a few months and I've been trying to I have to figure out a routine, but I don't feel at my best. So I'm urging you, if you don't feel at your best, get thee to a chiropractor.
Get thy
Just
booty
seriously,
in
I
gear.
know. Yes, I know.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
that's great.
we're all out of alignment. Physical stress, chemical stress, emotional
Mhm.
stress, 55 gallons of weeds. Yeah, I would say so for sure. Do we want to read? We're like,
I know.
are we weaving through principle number 10? What is
Yes. No,
principle
we're
number
25 minutes in. So let's see.
Okay.
Principle number 10. So the function of force. The function of force is to unite intelligence and matter. So we talk about the triune that it's intelligence, force, and matter. So so first of all, the matter, right? Our body. The intelligence is the innate intelligence that is coming through us. It's also the universal intelligence or God or spirit or however you want to call it that moves into our body as the innate intelligence. The movement that creates is actually the combination. That's the force. And I don't know if that makes sense. So the force is what animates this matter by
Dead versus alive.
that. Yes, dead versus alive. Yeah, exactly. So the innate intelligence is the one thing that's gone when my friend, our family friend, passes away. His body's still there. The intelligence is gone. It's elsewhere. I don't know. I'm so fascinated by this. I'm still fascinated, even from when my patient passed away right in front of me in hospice care. But then there's no longer any force. There's no longer any movement. There's no longer any heartbeat. There's no longer any, that's the force part is the actual motion inside of all of the cells and what moves us around in our world. And so we also, as chiropractors, we actually put a force into the spine to go, go. It's time to go, move. So that is an external force, but we have all those internal forces that the innate intelligence keeps us animated in space or matter. So that's principle number 10. The function of force is to unite intelligence and matter. What do you say about that?
Okay, read it one more time.
The function of force is to unite intelligence and matter.
The function of force. Let's think about this. Yeah, so it's all about force, intelligence, and matter.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you have intelligence
mm-hmm.
and you have matter,
mm-hmm.
but you don't have the force is what moves it, right? The force is what moves us.
The movement. Yep.
Yeah.
Cellular and big scale and through the world and all the things.
Yeah. Getting you up out of bed in the morning. That's force. Thinking.
Heart beating.
Yeah.
Exercise, which we've talked about, squatting, going upstairs. It's all of it. And that is, so yeah, it's just part of the principles that we work with. And I do have to say that, so except for a couple of them, they feel repeat, but it's basically constantly, it's not repeat. There's slight nuances, but it's basically those three things we always have to remember what life is. This body without intelligence is just, it's just cells.
That's it. It is. It's just lump amoebas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then the body with intelligence would be, or the matter with intelligence would just be like a non-moving, we would just be.
Well, the heart could beat.
Could
be.
That's
still force.
And that's force.
Yeah, that's true.
So every little thing that it does. So that is the link there. So.
Yeah. And I want a quick story too about intelligence and the time change. And I have a patient whose baby, and I was asking her, I said, so, how did you come through the time change? Did you sleep well? Did you feel, are you tired? How can I help you adapt to the time change? And she said that she goes, no, she goes, actually, she said, I was okay. She said, but my baby's like 2, complete sleep disruption for like the day before and several days after. Now, that baby does not know that there was a time change. So when you start to think about intelligence and matter and movement and force and life, that baby, that is the whole innate paradigm. That is your innate intelligence. It is sensing the environment around you, and it is forcing you to do things that you're going to adapt. So the sleep was not a part of that baby's parameter at that point, because it was like, something's off. So I think from an intelligence perspective and a force perspective, that doesn't actually have to come from just getting up and walking. This is your innate is going to move force, and force is going to move the innate. They're all communicating with each other at one point in time, which is, how does a puppy that gets born know to go to its mother's nipple to suckle milk?
Mhm.
How does a baby know that there's been a time change and its circadian rhythm is off and now it's off?
Right.
So we have to really start to think about those things, if, because I know this one's a little like, I want to say this is woo woo and it's out there, but when we start to put it into those kinds of perspectives, you'd be like, oh, that makes total sense. Right.
Right. Yeah. The force is always us moving around into our world and doing, I mean, yeah, just on such big and small scales. And we can also have, when we really talk about like car accidents and other accidents and different things going on, that is also an external force that comes into our body. And it can shift what's going on with the matter. Then intelligence has to adapt to that. What we do as chiropractors is we help to align all of it, and literally using that pun intended. Can you find your place and quit roaming around, please? Oh my gosh. So
It's his innate intelligence
it is saying,
speaking with
"Mama,
force,
lunchtime,"
causing
Mama.
him to move.
Yes. And so, so we're just always in motion and in movement. And, but we as chiropractors can go back in and realign how that communication system, so it doesn't have to work over these speed bumps. When we talk subluxation, we can literally, if we're going down the information superhighway, it's like having a speed bump in there, a speed bump.
Mhm.
And so misalignments can be like that. So aligning that allows the body to just work better, easier, have more bandwidth for life, to begin to decrease the stress hormones, to sleep better, to do all the things better. And so, just, continually, well, we get to see this all day, every day. And we just kind of really start to take it as just second nature, that everybody would really realize what we're doing. But so glad we're having these conversations, because it's not really what's going on.
Well, and my daughter was in Florida with her car, and she went to make a turn, didn't realize there was a curb there, hit the curb, it popped her tire. So she had to get a new tire, and we had to take her car in to the transmission shop. So this has been over a couple of weeks now. She had it. She went to one place to say, can you check my axle? Can you check, some other things? They then said, we think something's wrong with your transmission. I drove the car. It's not shifting properly. So the car had a trauma, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
The car could still drive, couldn't it?
Yeah.
This is what we do every day.
Yep.
Her car is severely compromised, but it still drives. Now, if she drives that car, she continues to drive it and ignores all of the things, the misstep in the shifting or the clunk when she turns the wheel. If she just kept driving it, what do you think is going to happen to her car? This is heart attacks, strokes, slips, trips, falls. This is like not being able to even think clearly, pay attention, not being able to relate to people. This is autoimmune issues. This is health issues that you've you're like, I'm fine because I take medication for it, so it's regulated. No, she could actually go and just keep topping off the transmission fluid if she wanted to. That does not fix the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So think about that in your own world, is that when there is a trauma and time goes by and you're like, I'm fine. Oh, but I'm stiff. Oh, and I have this autoimmune issue. Oh, it's okay. I had a thing years ago. I was on rounds and rounds of antibiotics and steroids for several months, but I'm fine now. But you're not connecting the things that you're experiencing now with that kind of that's a chemical trauma. And I see that a lot in functional medicine, is that, people when they're younger, you get them to unwind the story, and that their bodies, last week we talked about matter meets matter. So it's 100% intelligence meets 100% matter. And so your body's only going to function to the level that matter can function. So, so when people say, oh yeah, my kid fell off the swing set, but he's fine. He's not fine.
Right.
She not fine. That is going to manifest as something 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10, maybe 20 years down the road. Take care of it now.
Yeah.
So it does not become something more crisis driven or catastrophic.
Right. Take care of it all the way along the way. So
and I love this statement right here. So thank you, Bohemian. We're so glad because that's a big issue, and that can be really fringy for a lot of people, but we see it every day in our practices. It's so true.
Well, Dr. Paula, as she was talking about her daughter Hannah and her car. So we've all driven a car, especially, maybe our first car, second car, somewhere along the way, or the car we're driving right now. You start to hear something weird, and it's like your car is starting to like whisper something's not going right. And then it gets a little bit louder. Maybe the clunking gets louder. The misalignment on the road gets louder. And then our check engine light goes on, right? Or something. Or you're driving 70 miles down the highway and everything stops and goes blast just crazy and stops, and you're on the side of the road. So when our check engine light goes on, that's as it's getting louder and louder for us. Not one person here that's listening in a repeat or going back and listening would take a piece of electrical tape and put it over that check engine light. Come on. We would never do that to our car, but we'll gladly do that to our bodies. And our bodies are resilient. They're very resilient until they're not. And then we go back to that when we have our health, we have 1 million dreams, because we have space and energy and time and bandwidth to dream. When we don't have our health, we have one dream, which is to get our health back. And so if we can just start to listen to the body as a whisper instead of waiting for it to just go crazy on us, we're so, and so that's really where, again, regular chiropractic care weekly or every other week, or no less than every 3 weeks, is just the greatest way to stay ahead of it all. It really, really is.
Yeah, I agree. And I just got a text from my daughter. She just tried to call me. I said, I'm on our show. What's up? And she said, my car, I'm really upset. So now I know it's not good news. So again, this goes, so timely that I brought her car up, and then she just messaged me. So it's not good. So again, is this a quadruple bypass we're looking at? Right.
Or a new car. You have to replace the whole thing.
Right. New car. Like, it's going to be a big effing deal. Send me lots of love, because there's going to be probably a meltdown on that end. God bless her. Sure. I feel so bad. She loves her car. We got her an amazing deal on a Lincoln MKX, fully loaded. She, just quick sidebar, she was like, I want a car with a sunroof and heated seats and a heated steering wheel. And I'm like, honey, it's your first car. And found this it was a grandma car, and it was right in our budget. It's loaded to the freaking gills. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I guess you're getting all the things that you wanted. So it's a great vehicle. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll be able to get it fixed. So, yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah. And yes, some beaters held together with duct tape. It's like, no, you can't do that.
Yeah. I mean, you can for a little while, but then you can't anymore. You can, then you
Mm-hmm.
can't.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
then when it falls apart, you're like, whoa. So
Yeah.
then I really look back to that patient that brought me that X-ray report, which is basically so much pain, so much discomfort, so much degeneration, so young. How do you turn a ship like that around? And we we just have to, one little bit at a time, one
Mm-hmm.
little bit at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So if she were to start, the unfortunate part is she is also an aide on a children's bus. So she has to then take that spine and ride down the roads on a bus seat multiple hours, 5 days a week. And it's like, then we just have to do it even more. We have to turn the ship around even faster then,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because you have all those things that are working against us. I mean, even as simple as sitting long hours in a day, it's really, really so many things working against us.
Yeah, it's
And
rough.
some of it we can't have no control over. And some of it we do. And when
Mhm.
we do, we should. And when
Yeah.
we do, we should.
And
Have to.
it's those little things. Going back to water, Eric and I are just beasts about water. And years ago, I had a patient who she wouldn't come in for care regular like she needed to. Every time she did, she was complaining about all the pain she was in and the problems she was having. And what do you want me to do if you're not here? And then she was having other issues that required her to clean up her diet, and she wasn't willing to do that. And then I finally said, can I just get you to drink water? And she's like, well, how much water do I have to drink? And I said, I need you to drink at least half of your body weight in ounces every day. Just drink water from the minute your feet hit the floor. Just drink water. Her response was, you're asking me to do a lot. And I said, that is the simplest, cheapest thing that you
Mhm.
can do to improve. If you do nothing else, drink water. And if you're not willing to do that, and I just looked at her, I said, then I can't help you.
Yeah.
I can't help you. And that is the truth. Going back to, do you want the truth? If
You
you
want the
if
truth.
you are not, what do you want me to, like, pick the bottle up and pour it down your throat? There's nothing we can do for you, right?
I had this was years ago. I remember exactly because it was so interesting. So I used to have smaller adjusting rooms that were across the hallway. My mom was in one room and she was waiting. She was the next patient to be seen. And this guy named Frank was on my table. And he was the good old fashioned, like, Italian. I think he had a window cleaning business, if I'm not mistaken. So he would be often in harnesses and things like that. So I was asking him about water, and I said, how much water are you getting in a day? Like, we really need to get hydrated. And he says to me, how am I supposed to convince myself that I need to drink water? And my mom in the other room started giggling, and once I got done with, because I don't know how to answer that. How am I supposed to convince myself?
I don't know.
Oh, no. But figure it out. How am I supposed to
I
convince
might throw
myself?
another F in that
I
sentence.
know. I'm trying to, scale back the swearing, and you can tell that I'm like, I have to hold. I do like to
I would
throw
be
out
inclined to say
aggressive.
it here in a closed circuit, but yeah. Oh my God.
So I got to the next, I finished up with him. I'm like, Frank, drink some water. I don't know how to convince yourself. Just do it. I don't know. Just really go for it. Right. And so I got to the next room. My mom's like, how did you answer that? I'm like, I'm just jaw dropped behind him, standing over him. Like, I actually don't, I'm stumped. I don't know the answer to that.
You got me on that one.
You
Well, and then
do.
my other favorite phrase is, well, I can't care more than you do. So
Right. Right.
if you don't care enough about yourself,
Yeah.
and that patient that I was talking to you about, that who takes care of his family, he says, well, I live with a couple of sugar addicts. And I said, but you don't have to be.
Right.
So why? So, and it's again, it's the stories that we tell ourselves,
Yeah.
that it's like, the story is, I'm this way because of them.
Right.
You are this way because of you. Or, people who say, oh, I keep junk food in the house, cookies and whatever in the house for the kids. And yet you can clearly look at that person and go, no, I know who's consuming that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. And
it
then
just,
and then how do you fix that? You just don't buy it. Like, I can't have
right.
junk food in my house.
No,
I
no.
cannot have junk food in my house. I allow myself dark chocolate and peanut butter.
I
And
have dark
other than
chocolate
that,
too.
it's like if I buy chips, they're gone. If I buy cookies, they're gone. Me too, guys.
Yeah.
Me too. So then you can't buy it. I had a patient years ago and said something like this. So her son was 6 and not doing well, very sick, ADD, ADHD, sick all the time. She says to me, I cannot get him to drink anything but chocolate milk. Not buying
Not
it.
buying it. Who introduced him to that to begin with?
Holy mackerel.
Yeah. Or I can't get them to eat anything but McDonald's French fries. Who's driving?
And buying.
Who's
I
driving?
know. Who's driving? Come on. So anyway, we do also, so this feels like we've only shared doom and gloom today. We do have really incredible people. Like I have these people coming in, they're right at 6 weeks of care. 6 weeks of intensive care gets you a long way.
Yeah.
If you're going to start chiropractic care, pick at least 6 weeks to like go all in, figure out where you are in 6 weeks. The body needs that time. So we do have really good stories too. I just am
I also
like,
have to share that
I
a
would
patient of mine brought me cookies,
cookie.
which I always accept with
Yes.
gratitude
Thank
because
you.
I'm not going to be a food snob. But
Yeah.
you guys, these don't entice me. If they
Yeah.
brought me Cape Cod reduced fat potato chips,
You're a goner.
these not so much. I had a patient that used to bring me the Subway white chocolate macadamia cookies, which are to die for.
Oh gosh.
And I had a freezer full. I would throw them in the freezer thinking, on that one moment I want a cookie.
Yeah.
I had a freezer full and
Full of
I
them.
never stopped him. Every week he'd bring me cookies and I'm like, thank you so much. Like, because people want to give too.
They
Like,
do want to
right?
give,
So,
and you do need to receive too.
yes,
So.
I'm not going to be a food snob. So yes, Kenny, you
Yes.
should be.
You could eat the cookies for sure. I hit my bank stopped by yesterday and they brought me like an Easter basket full of stuff. I'm like,
Right.
and then so my nephew comes in yesterday afternoon. He's like, hey, Auntie, can I go to the back and get a treat? I was like, yep. And I was realizing I put it in the fridge and it was like Reese's peanut butter cups and those malted eggs and all that. And either I ate them all and didn't realize it, or that little stinker grabbed all of it. I had one little tiny Reese's
Oh
cup,
my God.
which is good. That's good enough for me. It's like,
Yeah.
I just need one little treat. Thank you so much. I need one little treat. And that little stinker took the rest, which is what it is,
so funny.
So
It
anyway,
is 1:48. I know you
Yeah.
got to go.
Yeah.
Give us reread principle number 10. Give us 11.
Okay. Principle number 10, the function of force. The function of force is to unite intelligence and matter. So just think that interchange of like where all the motion happens for the entire body, cellular and big level. Okay. Number 11, the character of universal forces. Now this is where it gets good. The forces of universal intelligence are manifested by physical laws, are unwavering and unadapted, and have no solitude for the structures in which they work.
Ooh, this
Like,
one's going to be
what?
good to
Yeah,
unpack.
I know.
Woo!
Seriously, that is really good.
Oh my
So
God.
we will be, of course, back next Thursday. We are just having so much fun and so glad that you guys are all here.
Thank you guys so much for your love and support. Please share this out with everybody. Share it on your channels, and love all the comments and the engagement. So thank you so much, and we'll see you guys next week.
Love you.
Love you so much.
Peace.
Bye.